All right, it is 4 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. So those of you that may not know me or may be new to Maker Maven in general, my name is Matt Garcia. I am the COO and co-owner of Maker Maven, along with my wife, Jamie, who is the founder of Maker Maven. Unfortunately, she's not able to be on camera with us today, but she will be popping into the chat a little bit throughout. So Maker Maven, we're a full service STEM provider for our educators to help get everything that you need as an educator and get the correct tools, curriculum, professional development, everything you need to be successful to reinforce STEM, STEAM, CTE with your students and to fit within your districts or regions directives. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Alicia. Alicia is an affiliate of ours who performs our professional development and helps us out in a lot of different ways. And I will let her let you know her background a little bit. All right, Alicia.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. So Matt and Bree are our host. For those of you that may have come in a little bit later, they're going to be monitoring the chat for me, by the way, so that you can ask questions as we go along. I always like to not feel like I'm talking to myself, which is a little bit hard to do sometimes in webinars. So please engage. Let me know what you think of things. This is the QR code for the slides, if you guys are wanting to get those. And I'm sure Matt is probably going to share these out as well after the fact. But a little bit about me and who I am certified in a couple of different product areas and specialties, as well as several different endorsements. I've got 20 years of classroom experience in a variety of different areas of education. Been in the classroom for all of those, so I know what the grind looks like every day for you guys. I am certified in gifted as well as 4 through 6 and business. I also have my master's in educational leadership, as well as Google certified, Merge Ambassador, Ed Leadership Specialist for Kai's Education, and Strawbee's Trainer certified. So kind of done the gamut. Those are the ones I have the certifications for, and a lot of specialties in a lot of other areas, as you all are familiar with, that don't always come with the glorified titles or tags. So that's a little bit about me and who I am. I'm not going to waste a whole lot more time because I want to get us started and be mindful of everybody's time this afternoon. I know what it's like at the end of the day to be ready to go home. So I want to start by talking about Industry 4.0 and kind of giving us the context of why we're talking about what we're talking about today and how this all fits in the education scene. So Industry 4.0, we're going to define it here in just a minute, but before we even get to that, I want to talk about some stats that make all of this relevant. In 2022, this all sort of started as various states began to allocate money to the K-12 Computer Science Education Initiative. And the reason that this came about had to do with a study that was done, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. But we found out that 57%, as a result of the 2022 initiative, 57, almost 56% of public high schools offered foundational computer science, which was the largest percentage since 2018. So the 2022 push was a good thing, did some good stuff. But if you notice, it was only high school. So why does all this matter, and what exactly are we talking about, and how does this come together? Well, we're all in the classroom teaching for the sake of preparing students for the industry, for when they leave our classroom, right? Whether that be to go on to get a 4-year degree or to go directly to work in some capacity. So between 2000 and 2017, the U.S. slipped from being 5th to being 10th among the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development countries. So basically the countries that we collaborate with and sort of share stats between to see how everybody's ranking. So this was related to those going and getting post-secondary degrees. That is not good to make that big of a drop in such a small span of time, which I know 17 years may not seem like a lot, but as you guys know, it kind of moves slow in education. So that's a pretty big drop in a pretty short period of time within 2 decades. So the push was, how do we really make sure that our students are better prepared for Industry 4.0? And I know that a lot of folks think that a lot of this initiative came as a result of all the COVID craziness and remote learning, but it really started long before that. So the introduction of Industry 4.0 is where we first began to look at why all of this was so important. And it's important that you know what Industry 4.0 is. It is the fourth industrial revolution, and it's a term that is coined and titled based on what's happening. And it's really related to the technology boom, if you will. Technology is changing the way we live, the way we work, the way we educate, the way we interact. And it's happening at such a fast rate of change that nobody can keep up. Not the governments, not the business, not the educational institutions, none of us. Everybody's scrambling. So for once, education isn't the only place that's sort of trying to play catch up. We're all doing it. And the term was coined of Education 4.0 as a result of this shift with Industry 4.0 and the needs to meet all of the industry lacking or shortcomings of the students graduating. So that's where we're going to be focusing, is this progression. We're really focusing on in Industry 4.0, the focus is cybersecurity, technology such as machine learning, of course, AI we're all hearing about, which is artificial intelligence and automated information. So, and yes, AI is actually standing for two things. I know AI, as most of you know it, is artificial intelligence, but it's also a big focus on automated information. So we really need to make sure that with Industry 4.0, we are preparing the students for this. And it's technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, big data, cloud computing, and virtual reality from a standpoint of the K-12 education system. Those should be your real focus areas as you think about what are you bringing in, what do we want to make sure we're teaching them, what kind of programs might we be looking to implement, et cetera. These technologies really enable automation, connectivity, and of course, intelligent decision-making within the industry arena. So with this, you see the building blocks of Industry 4.0 here are related to industrial success, industrial equipment and technology, smart sensors and devices. So of course, we're hearing, smart cities, smart homes, those types of things, control systems, connectivity and networking, and informationable data. So this is really where the industry is focusing and where they need skilled workers. Industry 4.0 is that cyber physical systems. And again, a additional breakdown here so you can kind of see how that plays into the industry is smart mobility, smart logistics, smart products, smart buildings, smart grids, and smart factories. And of course, we all hopefully know that term smart is really referring to the automated information and artificial intelligence piece of things, which is playing a big, big role in industry now. So Industry 4.0, as I stated, is leading to Education 4.0. And what is Education 4.0? It's dramatically different learning. It is based on innovative-based education. So how do we make them innovators, producers, and not just consumers? Education 3.0 and Industry 3.0 was all about consuming technology, and now we're really getting into the innovation and producers phase. Oh, I am so sorry. My slide is not advancing, guys. There we go. Sorry about that. So the key trends in Education 4.0 are project-based learning, data at the fingertips, which anything and everything data, more personalized learning, and a plethora of education tools. So these are the ones where there are 6 total here, but these are the 4 we're really going to hone in on during our session here today, and talk about some ways to fit these bills or these trends, if you will. So future job skills, there's 3 skills that students really need for the future workforce. And this is according to the World Economic Forum: problem solving, collaboration, and adaptability. Notice that the skill focus is really not about quote unquote skills as in hard skills, but more about those soft skills that we're developing, is becoming much more the focal point to get these students ready for industry. So another thing to really be thinking about as you're facilitating these things in your classrooms. So creativity, natural curiosity, real world, and growing jobs kind of sums up education and industry 4.0 and where the focal point should be. STEAM education is really where it's at when it comes to that. The merger of all these things really does come together under that STEAM umbrella. And whether it's STEAM from the CTE perspective for the older students, or it looks a little bit different for the younger students, all in all, it's underneath that science, technology, engineering, art, and math umbrella. And this encourages that creativity, that natural curiosity, and that innovation that we want to develop. That real world relevance is really important, and how we connect what they're doing to what's going on outside of the classroom. How does this fit in the real world for them? Future job market importance and skill sets, and also talking about from a career ready exploration perspective, how do we make that known to the students what's in demand? Because we want them to go after things that are their passion, but we also want them to know what's available. So letting them know that STEAM skills are high in demand. The US currently ranks 38th out of 71 countries in math and 24th in science, which really highlights the need for our improvement in these areas and the focus in these. And then STEAM jobs are expected to increase by 10.9% by 2026. That's just 2 years away. That's a major jump in a very short period of time. And 93% of STEAM jobs offer wages above the national average. So not only is this a great focus for them to ensure that they're going to get a job, but also that we graduate folks that are going to be able to support their families and make a decent living. So all of that being said, what is the relationship between Industry 4.0 and STEAM education? STEAM is the link between these two, because again, the focal point of Industry 4.0 is all of these different technologies, robotics, big data. And of course, when we talk big data, we're not just talking the Chat GPT side of things, but we're talking about data analysis, being able to look at data, being able to reference data, manipulate data. That is a really big factor, because a lot of these artificial intelligence need data points to analyze. That data has to come from somewhere, and it can't initially be generated by something subhuman. So we do still need those human skills to give it that data to work with. And then fusing digital technologies and those necessary soft skills for development. And Maker Maven is a perfect place to do this, because they offer the support that's necessary for the strong relationships in both of these arenas. So we're going to look at the basics of STEAM education and kind of how do we do this, and what are some great tools and things that you have at your disposal via Maker Maven to be able to do this, so that, and here when I say this, we're focusing on stuff that doesn't take a whole lot of time and prep for you, right? Because again, I did spend 20 years in the classroom. I haven't been gone that long. I know what it's like to spend those long days and then think you have to go home and do all of this extra work and planning. So the stuff we're going to give you today is really going to be quick, easy fixes to make sure that you're getting quality stuff into the classroom without a whole lot of extra time and energy on your part. So the skills alignment is the first thing I want to talk about. And Industry 4.0 demands a workforce with strong STEAM competencies to navigate these advanced technologies. So focusing on that STEAM education again brings us to talking about the revisions within the various standards. And TEKS is one that just recently rolled out, but they are not the only ones making revisions. We're seeing these revisions across the country. From the TEKS changes, we're seeing things like the integration of computer science standards, the expansion of STEAM disciplines, the emphasis on computational thinking, the introduction of digital citizenship and cybersecurity, And that is huge everywhere. That one's a biggie. So is the computational thinking focus. The integration of project-based learning, we're sort of seeing that cycle come back. We know we often see that in education, but we're seeing a really big push for the project-based learning coming back into being a major focal point of a lot of the standards. And then the alignment with industry standards and trends. So they're looking at each of these and that, saying the alignment with industry standards means they're looking at this through the lens of industry. What are the deficits? What are the needs that we need to quickly fill in the industry? And how do we do that by tweaking our standards to make sure we are graduating those students that are ready to do that? And the answer here again is looking at it through the lens of these STEAM areas. So curriculum is that leap and that fusion between everything for our future workforce. So making you your own inclusivity maven. How are we going to do that? The TA TEKS is a new revision. This is one of the newer ones, and they revised this. It's going to be going into effect this coming school year. But I know states like Mississippi, and there's been several changes in Florida and some others. Mississippi's was this year they had to implement. So a lot of the states are starting this previous year and within the next 3 to 5 years, depending on what their plans look like for that requirement. But again, it is happening across the country. And then with TEKS, the two new revisions that we are seeing for focal points is computational thinking and then data, everything from data literacy to data management to data representation. So we're really going to focus on how we do that. But as I mentioned before, I know that a lot of folks really thought COVID was the big push for a lot of this stuff. But I want to draw your attention to an article that I actually had the pleasure of co-authoring that was published by ISTE back in 2022 that was a result of a report from the State of Computer Science Education back in 2021 that focused on computational thinking and computer science. And it stated that many school systems feel the urgency to adopt policies that provide universal access to computer science education. So what we saw happening, and for them to really understand computational thinking, because that computational thinking is really pushing students to be able to think for themselves, adapt, and problem solve. And as we saw in the previous slides and the things that I talked about before this, that's really a lot of the soft skill focus for Industry 4.0. So when we started seeing all the money that came as a result of COVID, that's why we saw a lot of this focus really being put into things like computational thinking and computer science. Although it was a necessity for the remote learning aspects, it really was a bigger picture of where are we headed as an education system. And so what is computational thinking? Because I keep throwing that term out. And one of the things that I've found is that in several of my presentations recently, folks don't necessarily understand what exactly computational thinking is. So computational thinking is complex problems being broken down, basically. It's something we've been doing forever, since the dawn of time. It's not new to education. A lot of what we find is we put new labels on things. And so the importance here is that you begin to reference that term computational thinking with yourselves and with your students. And it's taking that complex problem and understanding what the problem is and developing possible solutions. And there is basically 5 key techniques to doing this and components to that computational thinking. And that's what you see here on the right-hand side of the screen. That's the decomposition, which is breaking down that problem into smaller parts, recognizing the patterns, the pattern recognition, what trends do we see, what similarities, and then abstracting what information we need. So drawing out or focusing in on what's important and what's unnecessary. And then algorithm. Now, I know some of you may not be computer science teachers, and you may think that, oh, she's using the term algorithm, that doesn't apply to me. Guys, we all teach steps in a process in some fashion in our classes. So algorithm is nothing more than a step-by-step set of instructions, and we're just giving it that fancy title. And the reason we're focusing on that title is because of this data era and computer science and machine learning environment that we're going into. So it does apply algorithm to the sense of usually being referenced in terms of computer science, but it is nonetheless applicable to anything that is step-by-step instructions. And then debugging, which is, how do we look at that problem and figure out what the issues are and fix them? So those are the areas of focus when you're talking computational thinking and what it consists of. And then the relationship between Industry 4.0 and STEAM is an innovative catalyst. So creativity, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills. So if you paid attention just then to the components of computational thinking, you see easily that it fits these areas, right? They're having to look at problems. They're having to be innovative. So that creativity component, they have to critically think through and they have to problem solve. So innovative, conscious improvement, continuous improvement, and then also looking at that through the lens of how technology fits all of this. So the technology integration piece equips the students with that literacy component. They have to understand it to be able to actually fully utilize it and not just consume it. So this is where we get into knowing that industry is looking for things for digital design, coding, and automation. And this is that interdisciplinary approach that I really want to draw your attention to, because when you start doing things through that project-based learning lens, it really blurs those disciplinary boundaries. So we're trying to really not focus so much on everything being taught in silo, but how does everything connect to each other? Because that's where the benefit is going to play for our students in really being able to engage, act, and investigate as they solve problems to get ready for that real world industry component. So workforce readiness is where we are going to start to kind of shift our focus, and how do we do that? And how Maker Maven can help us do that. So Maker Maven offers a variety of solutions, everything from curriculum resources to supplementary materials to professional development, so that you can really ensure that you are both complementing and meeting the industry standards. The first area we're going to talk about is curriculum, and they have a curriculum called STEM Fuse. This solution offers a variety of curriculum at different levels to meet your different needs within your organizations, districts, and schools. Sorry. It's picking up my link and not letting me go to my next slide. Sorry. There we go. Finally. I apologize, guys. So the STEM Fuse Elementary focuses on, and each of their components, elementary, middle, and high school, all have a core aligned library. So they're aligned to the standards and they have a library of resources. But this elementary level is designed for K-5 as the focus. With a core curriculum of topics of over 60 hours of lessons. They offer activities and projects. It emphasizes digital literacy, computer science, and digital citizenship as kind of its main focus. And there are two different components to it. It's the elementary focus with the robotics and circuitry lessons, and then the robot component, which is adding robotics with the coding and circuitry as well. So hardware and courses, it's pretty much all comprehensive included here to really give you a one-stop shop. Okay, I'm going to use my arrows because that way I'm not, not getting these links in there. I apologize, folks. And then you have the middle school level, which is a supplementary program. Again, has that library for you. This has 10 featured robotics and circuitry projects. This one focuses in on the core aligned topics with ELA, math, science. Then we see the business and the fine arts. We also get into the health sciences and social studies, along with the agricultural and natural resource areas as well. So the foundational courses in remote coding, circuitry, robotics, lessons and projects. And then you get really heavy focus at this level on the engineering design cycle. So going back to the reference, again, industry is really focusing on not just being consumers, but being innovators, being those producers. So we really want to make sure that we're teaching students about that engineering design process and how that fits into the holistic real world approach. And then you have the high school level, which really gets into the computer science, the STEAM, and the CTE pathways here. Again, still that library that is core aligned topics, getting more heavily into that agriculture, food, and natural resources arena, as well as the health sciences and social studies, and then the consumer sciences as well. Those areas that we focus on from the CTE perspective. They are really targeting those 7 career clusters here. And then they bring in a lot of the gamification aspect in these courses at this level. So, we know that graphic design is becoming more and more of a focal point as well in the real world. So they want to make sure that, they're incorporating this at this level and it's an option. So you have that graphic design focus as well as the physics and the computer science programming aspect of things, getting a little bit more technical here. Oh, sorry about that. And then we get into PyTop. PyTop is one that is still really great for that engineering component and incorporating engineering design process. They have a platform called Further, which is their curriculum component, which offers pre-done pathways for you, or you can mix and match and customize those. It has over 100 hours of hands-on interactive projects. There are 12 one-on-one tutoring sessions. The focus for PyTop, it does get a little bit more technical with this one. So you are going to want to start somewhere around ages 10 or 11, going up through that 12th grade level. So it starts kind of upper beginner. You do want them to have some experience, in my opinion, with coding before you jump right into PyTop. But they don't have to have a ton of coding experience and background to really utilize this product. The main thing is going to be the building component that really comes into play with this one, because it can be, more involved in terms of the students needing a little more strength to put the rivets and things in. So something to consider there, but a great product that really offers a lot of pre-done pathways for you. Coding music with PyTop, they can learn things like how computers are built. So getting into the basics, it's built on the basis of a Raspberry Pi, and they can also code in Python with this product as well. Then we get into a little more simplistic, which is Ozobot. This is a pretty mainstream robot. Many of you may already be familiar with it. It starts very low entry point. You can draw with markers, and the robots read those drawings according to the different color patterns that you use, and it programs the robot to do certain functions. And then it goes into the more advanced and can actually pair up with its platform. So it is aligned to Common Core standards, math, ELA, and then it also gets into the national standards for NGSS, computer science, and ISTE standards as well. Teachers really like Ozobot for the classroom component. It's a big hit with them. There's tons of lessons. It's easy setup, so it's real easy to just jump and go, get it set up with little to no involvement on your end. Bluetooth connectivity with the bots, so you could pair the bot with what you're doing in the platform. And again, those standards align, and really being able to not have to put a whole lot of energy and time with all of these products that we've mentioned, because you do have those resources readily available to you to say, this is what I want to teach. Let me just go in and find the resource, jump in and go. Ozobot offers the Evo, which is the hardware. That's the little mini bots. You can code it with or without the screen. So if you're looking for screen-free coding, this is a great option, but it also, as I said, works with the platform as well. And then the classroom communicator, and then the Ozobot software for the classroom to be able to access the lessons and whatnot. So 9 lessons per grade level with this one goes, kind of giving you an idea here. Kindergarten starts already with sequencing. With some of their lessons, we jump into loops, and then you get into advanced sequencing and loops. condition statements, functions, variables, etc. So it really kind of walks you through that progression. For those of you that may be finding yourself teaching computer science and not so familiar with computer science, and maybe that's scary for you, they do a great job of really laying that out according to what that progression should look like for you. Really hitting those 5 fundamental coding concept areas. And then we get into Strawbees. Strawbees is a very low entry point with a very high learning ceiling. From the standpoint of it can be used with or without the technology component. So you can build with Strawbees, really get into the engineering design components. And then if you want to take it up a notch, it is programmable with microbits. So you can add that component, bring in that robotics and coding element, and start to make things move and get students a little bit more excited. It's also great if you're looking for low financial investment. Strawbees is a really inexpensive way to do that in a classroom and really get that one-to-one component for a lot less money than you might be looking at if you're going more of a physical computing device route. The library has a ton of quality lessons. When you go in, I'm really impressed with their platform. You can quickly tell that there are teachers behind their platform. It's customizable. You can edit lessons. And by the way, you can do this with several of the others as well, such as PyTop allows you to edit the lessons within their platforms. So if you want to add or remove components based on what your students need or what you need to cover, the curriculum is standards aligned. And within the platform, you can search for lessons, you can search for activities. So if you're just looking for like a quick activity to go with a lesson you've already taught, you can search for it that way. You can also search in their platform if you want the full lesson or mini units. And then you can also search whether you're using it with or without microbits and want that to be part of the activity or the lesson. So their platform is super user-friendly and really accommodates your needs as an educator. And it comes with the class. You can order the class bundle with the microbits included, or without if you already have microbits. So it's really flexible in terms of your needs and what you have and don't have and what you want to add to, etc. They also have challenge cards available if you're interested in those, making it a really, like I said, financially friendly and option with or without that technology component for you. Kubo is the next one. This is for those early learners. Kubo is a really neat little bot, and he is programmed with these tiles that he reads, and they're called tag tiles. He is for elementary and early learner levels. The Kubo coding kit really introduces all those computer science, computational thinking, focus skills with the tag tiles. He does have an online component as well, or you can do him screen free. So he's another versatile option for you. So plugged or unplugged. And then simplicity of use, again, if you're, just getting into coding and you're a little timid, or you're with learners who are just getting into coding, this is a really great entry point because it does work with those tiles. And as you can see, those images are on the tiles, making it super user-friendly for them to understand the basics of coding. Critical thinking and computational thinking skills. Oh, I apologize. Did it again. And then you get into their math option, which is Kubo Coding Math, which, as you can see with the image here, you actually get in doing math elements, and you can do everything from greater than, less than, adding, subtracting, etc. With different tasks included. And they have lessons built into their platform, which are really great and really get the students involved. And again, giving you those resources to not have to create that yourself and really make those impactful lessons. CodeDrone EDU. So we're going to get a little bit more upper level now for some of you folks at those higher grades. CodeDrone EDU is a great drone if you're really looking at meeting industry standards. Drones are becoming a really big focus in the industry now. And this particular drone was specifically designed with education in mind. There's a couple things that I want to point out about this really quickly that make it sort of unique. not just because of the features, which are the sensors and the capabilities there, but I also want to point out the remote control that comes with this one. If you know much about the FAA certification for drone pilot programs, this remote is very similar to the remotes that they use with those drones. So it really makes for a great transition to learn all the skills if you really want to set up a program that's ready for them to jump right over to, okay, now we're ready to take that drone pilot license. There's not going to be a really big jump for them. It's going to be a really easy transition from this drone to a commercial drone. So I really like that about this drone. It does do coding both in block-based coding and Python. So it gives you different coding languages and options based on where your users are and what your needs are. And then it does color sensors, front range sensors, bottom range sensors. It offers the guards around the propellers. I will give a caution, make sure girls' hairs are pulled up. It will get stuck in somebody's hair, but that's with any of them. But the guards do help, and it does help protect the drone. Not all of them have that either, from the more inexpensive ones. So that's a great feature here. And it does come with some of the replacement propellers as well. And then learning those coding and engineering skills. The other thing that they do really well is they offer a great getting started curriculum through their base camp, which is completely free for you to walk through, and has some really great introductory lessons to use directly with your students as well. If you want a little bit more low tech and you're still thinking drones and rovers, maybe you're dealing with some younger students, or if you want to get into, even with older students still wanting to do that, but you want them to really get more into those engineering skills and bring in some of the building components, this is a great one. It's Crazy Circuits Rover Kit. It's from Brown Dog Gadgets, and it does offer that building component, and it is programmable using microbit. So again, another microbit compatible option here. And if you've already got microbits, that's great, because your students will easily transition with that and be familiar with that platform. Engineering design, again, is really important for us to be bringing in those skills and honing those skills for industry ready purposes. And then you get into working with some basic sensors and reacting and sequences that you can really do with this rover kit. So a lot of good skills there that you're going to bring into the classroom, and can be used with a variety of grade levels depending on what you do with it. Kai's Education offers two specific products. The first one we're going to talk about is KaiBot. This one is another super easy intro product. If you can self-check out at Walmart, and if your Walmart's like mine, you have self-checked out because there are no cashiers when you go in anymore. There's 500 lanes and no one's there checking, so they force you to do it. If you can do that process, you can use KaiBot. It's that simple. So it scans cards, very much like what you do at the register. It is for grades K through 8. But it also will do block-based and Python coding as well. So it can start really low entry level and go all the way up through that Python coding level. So you can do this one as well, screen free or within their platform. Platform is free, and they do offer it from a app-based availability and a web-based availability. One of the features I like to point out on this one, if you are not super familiar with the computer science standards, they start introducing debugging really early. That is a tough skill to teach to littles. And if memory serves, it's introduced in either like grade 1 or 2. That's a really tough skill to make sure you're appropriately teaching. This product actually starts the debugging process in the screen-free option. So the debugging is done directly on the screen of the device. So even with students that are just beginning coding, it's starting them in that debugging and thinking through those processes and telling them what to look for. So it makes a really great teaching tool for that. They do provide lesson plans and teacher training, and all of their lesson plans are free within their platform with the purchase of their device. That also works with, just to go back really quickly, KaiBot also works with tiles. and you can incorporate the tiles, and it reads the tiles as it runs over them if you're inside of the platform. And it auto calibrates with the tiles. That's a really great feature when you get into wanting to implement things like math. And also if you want to get into the gamification where students can really design their own games within the platform. And then for the older students, and this says grades 5 through 12, I have used this as young as second grade with my own personal students, but I've seen it used a lot as low as third and fourth grade. So it really can go lower than fifth grade, even though that is their recommended age range. If they are familiar with any type of coding, they really can jump into Kai's plan. It does block-based coding, but it also does Python coding as well. So you can do both text and block-based. It integrates with Tinkercad and Minecraft. It also works with Microbit. It has a ton of sensors, works with AR and VR, incorporates Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. So this one is truly an all-in-one STEAM toolbox. And I really could easily do a whole day session just on this product because it does so much. But it really is engaging for students. It's very low floor, high ceiling. And again, you have lesson plans that are free within their platform. The lesson plans have various degrees of difficulty, and you can really choose that, as well as you can choose and sort lessons based on the virtual environment. And that's done based on the mats that come with this product. Each mat has its own virtual world. So you can sort by that. You can also sort if you want to teach sensors. They have a whole section just for teaching sensors. If you purchase the classroom set, it does offer over 35 sensors built into that kit that you can utilize. You can download that data in real time, and then you can also export that data into a CSV or Excel spreadsheet. If you remember back, data is really becoming another big focal point of industry standards. So this is a great, great product to really bring that to light and focus on for real important things that the students need to know and really get their buy-in. Three Ducks Design is another one. It is a product that really hones in on that art component of STEAM and making it practical. It is an architectural design product that works with cardboard and connectors. I really like this product for ideating or engineering design processes. I don't know about you guys, but if you work with students, especially those middle schooly age students or younger students, they get real funny about once they've created something, they don't like to tear it apart. And this really does ease that pain for them in working with this product because of the connectors. It's a very simple take apart, put back together type thing. So it doesn't make them feel like they're destroying their design so much as reinventing their design, which is what we really want them to do in the ideation and engineering design process. And those steps of really going through the variations of that design are crucially important. So really, urge you to look at this one and then think about how you can pair this with other products if you want to up that game a little bit. It comes with the connectors and the cardboard with every set. And then depending on the sets that you buy, you can also incorporate LED components and things like that if you want to get a little bit more technical and start introducing basic circuitry and things like that. The lesson plans are amazing and they are free with the purchase of any of the products. And she also has several lessons that really focus on the sustainable development goals and standards aligning across the board in the majority of her lessons. And they're all real world practical based lessons. So if you're looking for a great tool and resource that also comes with a ton of great lesson plans that are real world founded, this is a great place to look. Going back to data and how do we really look at data? This is a newer product that hasn't been on the market that long, but is super incredible, super small, and super powerful. DataBot. It is truly tiny, fits in the palm of your hand device, and it can be paired with a lot of other things. So you can pair this with your drones or your robots, or simply use it by itself if you like. And it is what it says in its name. It is a data bot. It is all about collecting and analyzing data. So how do we do that and get students really, collecting the data, looking at the data, working with the data, and then implementing the data. And that is what it's all about. They offer a ton of options as far as ways to do this and lesson ideas. And there are a ton of sensors. You can do everything from reading the humidity in the air to looking at CO2 levels, temperature, moisture sensors, you name it, it's there, and really get super technical. All of this is downloaded with an app. The app is free. So once you purchase DataBot, you download the app and then you're able to see all of the data there. And then students can then take that data and manipulate it, analyze it, review it, put it into visual perspective. So really getting students excited about data. And that's something that I will tell you, when they create their own data as a teacher, I can tell you from experience, you can give them data all day long and students could care less about what you're doing with it. The minute they create the data, they become extremely possessive over it and get super excited, which is truly empowering, and they want to do things with it. So as you are thinking about ways to do that, this is a great tool to consider as an option to bring into the classroom. And again, fits a ton of different classrooms. The list really goes on and on as to where you can make this fit. This is an example. And on some of these slides, I'm going to go really quickly through here, but when you get your slide deck, there are a lot of links on here that I truly encourage you to take advantage of looking at. They are links to lessons and things that I've provided for you so that you get a little bit of better idea about what you can do with some of these things and what resources are at your disposal. Here is an example of the DataBot with Lego robotics. So you can see how they're using it with Legos and collecting data there for sports science. Next, we're going to talk about Umedi. VR was another component of those skill sets and technologies that are being focused on for Industry 4.0, and Umedi is a great fit. It is the only VR product on the market that really is all encompassing from a content area focus point, and also specifically designed down to their headsets being specifically designed for the academic environment. So for education specifically, it wasn't designed for the general population and then retrofitted for education, which is what we find with a lot of the other VR tools that are out there. And when you get into the platform, you will quickly see that that is the case. In their career exploration, they really simulate real life careers, what you do, what that looks like, and puts the student in the driver's seat of that career environment. That is great for STEAM and CTE programs. They also offer a UMake, which is where students can create their own virtual reality experiences. And they offer the STEM package as well. So if you're wanting to really help solidify some of these STEM skills that you are teaching, doing that with Umedi is great. One of my favorites is when they do the kinetic and potential energy. You actually have students riding a roller coaster, and as they are experiencing the potential and kinetic energy, it is being explained to them. So it really is a very neat platform and very real world infused and encompassed as immersed in that environment in a way that's really educationally and academically based. So let's talk a little bit about, we've talked product and kind of circling back to how do we bring these things to life? How do we infuse this into the classroom? And really building is key. Build, build, build. I can't stress enough to try to bring in, whether you are building apps, whether you are building robots, but getting them hands-on and actually creating things is very, very, very important for Industry 4.0 skills. I talked about 3Dux Design earlier. One of the products you see here on the screen is the Hummingbird Robotics Kit. I paired those two products so often in my own classroom that I completely have lost count. Those are great, great products to pair together because of the fact that the Hummingbird kits can be programmed in a variety of different languages. So you've got the block-based, you've got Java and Python that are all capable programming languages compatible programming languages for that. And then it is just the components, the parts and pieces. So 3Docs makes for a really great, inexpensive way to offer the shell of what you're building and then put the robotics components with it. You see things here like the robot that they are building. You can do that both with some of the things offered from Brown Dog Gadgets as well. You have BristleBots and things of that nature if you're looking for more simplistic building that still introduces things like circuitry. And then the Coding 101, origami circuits, really all of these where you can start to infuse basic coding and building together. And then don't forget to think about things that may not be as technologically advanced, but still nonetheless, they are producers of that environment. So whether it be the 3Doodle 3D printing pens, if you're using that with younger students, that's a great way to begin introducing 3D printing. The Hue Animation Studio kits are a really nice way to get stop motion animation introduced and get kids creating, but also using stop motion to and 3D printing to really show and illustrate what they've learned while getting them over into creating something. So they're showing you what they've learned while they're creating something. And then the Merge Cube is another way to do that as well.
Today, children.
Sorry. And again, pay attention. There are a lot of embedded videos and things that are resources within the platform for you to take a look at when you get these slides. So regardless of what you are looking to do, whether you're just looking for a resource, a product, whether you are looking to infuse that computational thinking in a specific subject area or classroom, if you're looking for data literacy, if you are looking to manipulate data, produce data, or you're looking for ways to differentiate instruction, Maker Maven really has something to fit the bill for every one of those various needs. And then, of course, we all know the importance of professional development. Each and every one of you, I'm sure, has at one point in time been thrown something by your administrators, your district, whomever, and said, here's this great new thing. And then you're like, great, what do I do with it? The answer to that is you need professional development. So whether you're needing professional development on one of these specific topics and you just need guidance on how to do this, or if you need professional development that is customized and catered to, I bought this product and we want to know what we can do with it so it fits our specific needs, your answer is Maker Maven via Educating. And Educating is actually my company, and that is what I do. So we all know when you are looking at professional development as an educator, here is a lovely little art illustration that kind of hits the high notes of what teachers are looking for. You want a voice and choice in your PD. Every PD is customized when you go through Maker Maven and set up that professional development. You're going to get something that is completely customized and hits number 2. It is relevant to you and your students. And then you want something that you can use right away. Again, making sure that it's customized to your needs and really giving you that direct instruction on what you specifically can do with it means you walk away from that training and the very next day you can take that into your classroom and implement. It's conducted by professionals with classroom experience. I know every one of us has that horror story where we sat in that 4-hour training and we were ready to shoot ourselves because this person obviously either has never been in a classroom before or hasn't been in a classroom in 30 years and is telling us something that is completely not going to work for today's students or our classroom or doesn't fit in any kind of timeline that we have to teach within. That is never going to happen to you in any training that I'm going to give you. So rest assured that you're going to get something that is going to be conducted by an experienced professional. It's going to be innovative, it's going to be creative, and really just hit all of these things that you're looking for. And it's something that, as I stated at the beginning of this workshop, even with webinars, I want you to get involved. I want you to collaborate. I want you to speak honestly. That's the same thing that you're going to have happen in any PD that we're going to conduct for you. So encourage you to really make sure that you not only look at products, but that you really don't discount the importance of the professional development, that you need to make sure that you implement those in a productive and efficient way for you in your environment. We do offer them both virtual or in person. That choice is really up to you. And in some cases can be more dictated based on the product or the topic that you're looking at as well. But pretty much 90% of them all really have either or option. There's only a few exclusions in that possibility. They are cross-curricular. We do make sure that they incorporate implementing whatever specific skill sets that you are looking for. So again, cater to what you're looking for in your classroom needs. So that is kind of what we suggest. These last slides, I want you to take some time, look at the videos when you get them. They are some project-based ideas. This is kind of the things that I do when I come in that will give you an idea of what professional development might potentially look like. In your classroom, it's some things that I do in terms of pairing things like books with products, and then what does that look like in a lesson format, so that you can really get that idea for implementation. You see that here. Here's another with KaiBot. Let's make 8. So it's really, really practical uses. This is a lesson plan that was designed for them that I played a part in writing. So you can sort of see the types of professional development, again, that may take place. So what actions do you need to take after this webinar? You need to be incorporating STEAM in whatever manner that looks like from the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics angle within your educational system. You need to be doing it through the lens of what is needed in Industry 4.0 so that you are making sure that students are well equipped for the industry. I'm sorry, I'm having so much trouble with my words. It's the end of the day. You guys know how that goes. And really that means making sure that you are making students creators and problem solvers. And by incorporating these resources talked about here that are all available through Maker Maven in your teaching practices, you will make sure that you have those students ready and prepared for those skills to be successful in the current industry and beyond. So, are you ready to add STEAM? Check out Maker Maven. Here's some places that you can reach them, ways to order. This is all within there. The QR code's there for you as well. Phone number to access them. And if you've got questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. And then from here, I'm gonna kind of stop talking as I show you the next few slides and give you the opportunity to let me know if we've got some questions I need to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alicia. And I know I saw a comment on there that yes, there is a lot to go over. And that's still just really scratching the surface. That is why the professional development aspect is so important, regardless of the tools you're using with your students. Having that good base of professional development, having a plan on how to implement is paramount. So once again, thank you so much, Alicia. There's a lot of content in here. You will receive the slides. I know Brianna put the link to the slides here at the beginning of the chat. So if you didn't get that, I suggest scrolling back to the top, clicking that link, having a look for yourself, and please go through. There's a lot of links and lessons, like Alicia said in there, that she prepared for you that could definitely be beneficial for you. If you have any questions, still, please feel free to pop those in the chat. Feel free to contact us, for anything, whether you're looking to purchase items now or professional development, no matter what stage you're at, whether you're at the just getting started or if you're just in the information gathering stage, we can still help and kind of guide you along that path. Or if you have an existing space and you're just looking at different ways or better ways to utilize your space, the items you have, or even the items you may not have, but you're looking to implement in different ways, we're also able to help with that. As you see, we've got all our socials up here. So if you're not already following us, Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, please give us a like and a follow on all those. Give us a shout out. We do frequent STEM challenges that are created by our very own Alicia here. So the content is fantastic. Some that are specific to certain items, but also a lot that can be used with resources you can easily find around the home or the school. So there's a lot of great free content that we provide on our end as well. All right, with that being said, for those of you that stuck around all the way to the very end, it's time to do our drawing for the free 1 hour of professional development with Alicia. All right, so I am going to switch screens here.
I'm going to stop sharing, Matt, so that you have the floor.
All right, so make sure I choose the correct screen. All right, so let's give this a spin and see who our winner is for the professional development. I forgot to share. Oh no, there it is. So Alan, you are the winner of our professional development 1 hour with Alicia. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate you taking the time to attend here at the end of your day. I know it's close to dinner time and everybody's ready to go home. So it really does mean a lot to us. Alan, if you want to stick on here for a little bit and I'll get some information from you, and then we'll get you in touch with Alicia, and we can go from there to make sure you get taken care of.
Really quickly, Matt, I do want to say before everybody hops off, if you're going through the slide deck later and you have questions, my email is on one of the slides. You can reach out to me or to Matt at Maker Maven, and we'll be happy to answer any of the questions that you might have, even if it's just related to something that's within the slide deck and not product related.
Yeah, certainly. And I just see a few comments in here, a lot of praises. So thank you so much. Tim asked what the battery life on the drones are. So of continuous flight, they're roughly 7 to 9 minutes of continuous flight. Very rarely will you have a student using the drone with that much continuous flight, especially if you're using the coding components to it. But there are spare and extra batteries that can also be added in different packages and included as well. All right. Awesome. Any other questions? All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much. Really does mean a lot to us that you joined us today. Please go through those slides, reach out and contact us. Let us know how we might be able to help with you. And y'all enjoy your evening. Thank you so much.